Hopefully no more of the Mustang transfers over to my S10, otherwise I might be going into some crowds at car shows. Obviously I have other stuff to do other than this. This isn't a full-time job that I get paid nothing for it. So anyways, enjoy watching me put this 2013 Mustang hood vent in, and hopefully the next video will come less than a week away, and I'll show you what the finished product looks like as soon as I know what it looks like. Alright, I want to get started in on the hood a little bit tonight, kind of get it laid out, maybe make a cut, I'm not sure. This is the hood I got at one of the self-service salvage yards. There's really no dents in it. There's one little ding in it, but the paint job on this thing is horrible. I don't know if you can see how checked up it is. I think it's been repainted at some point in time because the paint is horrible. Alright, I think I'm going to try and put the vents just above like the valve cover area. Want it kind of close to the intake but not right over the top of it. I'll plan on putting some sort of covers on it if it rains when I drive it on something. I'll probably end up getting rid of the washer nozzles back there. We'll see how I lay this thing out and what it looks like. Alright, here is the underside of the vents. As you can see, they're pretty straight through. This is originally what they look like. It had this little honeycomb on it. So I took all that off. It just has a little bit of glue on it and then clips on the side. So I got rid of all that stuff so it's a lot more air can get out of it. Alright, the first thing I did was kind of reverse engineer a template for this thing. Let me get it on here and show you how I did it. I just kind of laid down some poster board and then taped the edges on it where it fit it good, and it should be able to clip into the hood. I may end up holding it in differently other than just clips too, but for now it looks pretty good. Alright, second day of working on the hood. Went ahead and laid out kind of a graph here so I could keep the hood the same on both sides. I found the center line of the hood right down there, and every 5 inches I drew a line. And that way I can hopefully match up the other side the same as the first side. Like is always the problem, it's hard to match up the second side, not the first side. Anyways, I laid my little template down over here, marked it off, and I'm going to attempt to cut it. I'm going to try and cut it just a little bit shallow, and then I'll grind it to fit. I know there is some support that runs under the hood. I don't want to cut through it yet, because I know I'm going to have to keep the support under there, keep the hood from being all wonky. So I'm just going to try and cut the sheet metal out tonight, and hopefully there is probably some glue on the supports under there, so like put a hot knife or something in it and cut the glue off. So I'm going to cut it now. Alright, as you can see where my cutout is, I have some major structure in there. So I'm going to use, you got glue sticking that holds the hood down to this, how they held it down. So I'm going to use a makeshift hot knife. I'm going to heat it up with a torch, and then try and just get that glue out of there. This is the first time I've tried this. We'll see if it works. There's my first hole cut without any extra trimming. Obviously I'm going to have to do something about this in here. Let's just see how the piece comes close to fitting. Alright, let's see if it's anywhere close. not too bad. I get rid of that support in there. I'm getting mighty close. Finally got it all fit. I had to grind out a little bit around where the clips were. The only problem I had was I ground just a hair bit too much away right there, so this clip doesn't hold in. What I may end up doing is just putting a little tack weld on the sheet metal there, a couple tacks, and then grind it down so that clip will fit. But what I'm going to do first is cut the other side out. If it gets just as close as this side here, then I will attempt to repair this. If this side here doesn't come out as tight as I would like, then what I'll probably end up doing is putting some black, gloss black screws around the perimeter of that vent. It would look like it belongs there. So I think I'm going to hopefully get the other side just as close. If it does, then I won't have to worry about any screws. Right here, this is on the vent itself. It protruded a little bit further than the hood. So what I'll do is I'll tighten up the nut down. It also sits at a weird angle. I assume that's the angle of the Mustang hood. I'll tighten the screw down there and with a washer under it, and I'll make a piece of metal that will surround that so it will fit and hold the back of it down and hold it from going front to back, because if this thing slides backwards then I lose my clip up here. So we gotta get that fixed. I may use, because it looks like it's straight, can't tell. Yeah, that's definitely crooked, so I need to figure that out. And then I'll bridge a piece of metal probably somewhere up here over and then down to there. I have another hood laying over there. I might cut out pieces of it so it'll look factory. I had no choice but to cut this out. There was no way around it. I don't think it's going to matter too much because of the perimeter of the hood is still all intact and all this. So I should be good with just building a little bridge over here, filling that in a little bit maybe so it looks better. And then first I'm going to cut the other side, see how it reacts. I'll show you what it looks like on top. Alright, here's the top view of it. Underneath this plastic all the way around it, it's got these little ribs that space it off of the hood so it can never actually sit 100% flush with the hood. I'm not sure why they did that, but I don't think it looked bad. I don't think anyone will notice it either, but that's just the way they were designed, so I'm going to leave it alone. If I ground them off, I think the hood, this vent would be floppy loose on there. So if I don't end up using the screws, I'm just going to leave it as it is. If I do end up using screws, I might grind those little nubs down just a hair so it sits perfectly flush on the hood. But for now I'm going to leave it, and I think it actually looks really good on there. Guaranteed to be the only S10 with a Mustang hood vents. Hopefully no more of the Mustang transfers over to my S10, otherwise I might be going into some crowds at car shows. Alright, I got the underside all cut out on both sides. I'll spare the details of showing you the other side, same as the first side. One thing I did have a problem with, where a couple of these tabs are, I cut a little too much out, so I did go back and I just welded a real small little bead there, ground it back down level on both sides, and then to the depth I needed, which was really small. So now, as you can see, these things ain't popping out. Both sides are done as far as that goes. The next thing I need to do is make something up that goes in here so these can bolt down and hold, and then I'll make something go across here and probably across here. Alright, here's your very first look at the first ever 2013 Mustang hood vents installed on S10. Woo! Anyways, they look pretty good. See, it's still up a little bit right here, but when I weld that metal on the back side, I'll use that bolt and pull that thing down. So I think they come out pretty good, and I'll show you when I get all that stuff welded up on the back side. Alright, I got an old hood that used to be on another S10 I have. I started to make a cow hood out of this and kind of gave up on it a long time ago, but I want to salvage this piece out of it to kind of put into the other hood and kind of make it look a little more factory, because I have it kind of butchered up around here to clear everything. And since this piece is a little taller where I had to cut it right here, I'm going to try and extend this out on over into there so it'll kind of look factory. So I'm going to cut that piece out now. So I'd kind of like to cut it in here and then stop over here. And obviously I have to keep this open here, so I'm not going to be able to add anything down here. And I don't want to have to weld down here on the hood skin. I want to keep the weld up here higher, so I'll cut into this structure right here and just splice into it back to here. And I'll obviously have to make my own little patch panel there, but basically I want to patch from there to there on both sides. And there's the piece that I just cut out. So I did cut a bigger hole. That piece I cut out last night, I made me a little patch panel. So it'll fit in there just like that. That square there is where that stud will come out to hold the hood vent in. As you can see, I got her all cut out around there. I'm trying to hold it in place and show you, but it should fit. I'm going to tack her in position, make sure everything's good, and then weld it slowly and cool it down between about every other tack. I got this piece welded in here. I got to grind down some of these welds. I had to use the welder on a really cold setting because it wanted to keep blowing the metal away. So it's kind of bunched up. What I like to do on that is I use a die grinder. This electric one from Harbor Freight works pretty good. It saves the air compressor too. I grind down all the high spots with this real good, and then I come back over it with a flapper wheel for the final finish. That way you just use one of these little flapper wheels or small grinding disc on these welds. It'll wear your grinding disc down real quick, and also it'll start wanting to round it and won't get you a smooth edge. It'll start grinding into the metal on the sides because it's soft and gives away. So I grind it down with the hard wheel first, then come back over it with that. Alright, there it is, all ground down. Got it smooth again. It's not perfect, but clear at the back of the hood. When the hood's up, I doubt anyone really looks at it. So I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I know I'm going to have to cut up a little bit in here. I'll wait till I put that piece back on so I can measure it. Then I can start in my side over here, and then this thing will be ready for paint. Alright, that's going to do it for this week's update. I'm going to stop putting S10 update 21, 22, 23. Since the LS7's in it and running good, I'm not going to give any more updates as far as the build series goes on the engine unless something happens, you know. Like I hope to go to the drag strip and all that, so this one obviously going to be my first one saying, you know, S10 hood vent install. So keep a lookout for future updates, and as soon as I get this hood back on, I'll do a real short video update, show you what it looks like. And as always, thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe.